Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a truly fascinating topic, the cosmology of Lifechanyuan. Specifically, we'll be objectively unpacking the teachings and writings of Xuefeng, who serves as the guide of Lifechanyuan. So whether you're totally new to these concepts or you already know his work inside and out, we're going to map out the incredibly intricate theology he's built. We'll be traveling from the very creation of the universe all the way to the ultimate destination of the human soul. Let's get right into it. Here is our roadmap for this journey through Xuefeng's worldview. We'll hit 6 main stops. What is Lifechanyuan? The mystery of creation, unique origins of humanity, power of thought waves, Xuefeng's role, and finally, walking the Creator's way.
Let's kick things off with Section 1. What is Lifechanyuan? Awakening the soul.
Xuefeng looks at modern society and sees a deeply restless place. We're constantly bombarded, right? The TV, the ads, the endless, exhausting daily grind. Well, he presents Lifechanyuan as a sort of sanctuary. It's a place for those who finally decide to pause, step back from the societal tide, and dare to ask, what am I actually so busy for? Isn't there a better path? And the philosophy here is super specific. He says Lifechanyuan is like yeast. It doesn't leaven the whole dough overnight, but it works slowly and steadily until the entire thing rises. So it's not some fleeting trend or a quick fix. It takes real patience, deep reflection, and what the text calls the labor of the soul. It's all about a gradual, steady fermentation process meant to eventually elevate collective consciousness, rather than just handing out lazy, ready-made answers.
Moving right along to Section 2, the mystery of creation, the building blocks of life.
Now, the source material has a highly unique take on how humanity was actually formed. It steps completely away from traditional ideas of divine creation and introduces this fascinating system of celestial delegation. Xuefeng asks a brilliant rhetorical question to explain the imperfections of our world. If the greatest creator made humans, why didn't he provide a detailed blueprint or clear instructions? Well, according to these teachings, the Creator didn't build us directly. Instead, that physical creation of humanity was delegated to a plural group of celestial beings or angels. To explain why the Creator did this, the text uses a great analogy. It compares the Creator to a father who gives his child a set of loose building blocks, with just a vague idea of a house, rather than a finished, pre-glued model. Why? So the child can actually experience the pure joy of creation. Xuefeng shares this amazing anecdote about a wealthy Armenian woman who relocated to an impoverished rural home in China. Because she had to build her new life entirely from scratch, she found a profound, undeniable happiness, the kind that just inheriting wealth could literally never give you. And the idea is that the Creator wanted the angels to experience that exact same joy.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, unique origins of humanity, sheep and deer.
Following that concept of angelic creation, the teachings get into exactly how different human races came to be, and Xuefeng categorizes their origins using this grand cosmic agricultural metaphor. He divides humanity into 2 main groups. First, you have the sheep. These represent certain races intentionally intended by the Creator, with Jesus acting as the shepherd trying to guide them back to the fold. But then you have the deer. Xuefeng posits that the yellow race was actually an unplanned creation, kind of like a disobedient son sneaking a bunch of deer into his father's sheep pasture. But here's the twist. Instead of wiping them out, a compassionate Creator sent Sakyamuni Buddha to teach these deer how to cultivate enlightenment and eventually return to their celestial homeland. It's a really fascinating way of blending these massive global religious figures into one unified planetary narrative.
Next up is Section 4, power of thought waves, tuning the universe.
So how do we actually interact with this compassionate Creator? Well, Xuefeng explains this through a highly metaphysical, almost scientific mechanic involving the human mind. In Lifechanyuan teachings, your mental state, whether you're feeling angry, defiant, or totally joyful, instantly alters your bodily cells and actually changes the reality around you. These are called thought waves. They're invisible frequency shifts that radiate outward into what the text calls the negative universe, which then responds instantly. For example, the teachings say the historical yellow dragons survived a massive catastrophe for one strict reason. In their final critical moment, they recognized their fault and repented. Their internal frequency of repentance perfectly matched the Creator's frequency of mercy. It literally saved their lives. The absolute key here is staying in tune. The text compares it to something we all use every day, a TV remote. Think about it. If you stubbornly cling to your own views and refuse to align with the frequency of Lifechanyuan, It's exactly like trying to use your living room remote to open your neighbor's electric gate. It's just not going to work. Without the exact same frequency, there is zero resonance. And if there's no resonance, the door to higher understanding remains firmly shut. Which leads us directly into Section 5, Xuefeng's Role and Humility, the Guide. Now, with such a massive, all-encompassing spiritual framework, you might be wondering, how does Xuefeng actually view his own authority within Lifechanyuan? Well, even though he claims to possess the highest spiritual wisdom currently available on Earth, he demands absolute humility of himself. When addressing the greatest creator, he literally compares his own wisdom to just a single drop of water seeping from a rock compared to a surging ocean. He makes it crystal clear to his followers, if he ever starts seeking personal fame, wealth, status, or worship, it means he has become a devil. And if that happens, they are commanded to abandon him instantly and turn only to the creator. And finally, we reach Section 6, Walking the Creator's Way, the Final Path. Let's look at the strict, practical application of these teachings in daily life. It all starts with a very sharp theological distinction. Followers absolutely must separate the greatest creator from all other entities. Gods, Buddhas, celestials, ranging from Jesus all the way to Satan, are seen as plural. Yes, they are to be respected, and you can use their wisdom as a stepping stone, but they must never be fully depended upon. To walk the true path, Xuefeng says you have to bypass organized religions, reject flawed mortal ways, cast off those spiritual chains, and rely exclusively on the singular greatest creator. And this strict distinction actually builds into a literal roadmap for the afterlife. By tuning your frequency exclusively to the creator, the text outlines a clear, step-by-step ascension. The goal is to leave behind all the suffering, contradiction, and helplessness of our mortal world and ascend upward. First into the 1,000-year world, then the 10,000-year world, and ultimately arriving at the Elysium world. But to achieve that ascension, you've got to follow some absolute rules. You must treat nature exactly as a nurturing mother, meaning harming even a single blade of grass or an insect is completely intolerable. You've got to treat all humans, from the wealthiest billionaire to the poorest beggar, as absolute equals. You have to rely solely on the creator, which means an outright rejection of fortune-telling, divination, or anyone claiming to have supernatural powers. And finally, you must comprehensively read the entire Lifechanyuan corpus, all while actively embracing free thought so you can break out of conventional societal programming. According to the rules of this cosmology, your mindset is an active transmitter pushing out into the negative universe. So we want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If our internal thought frequencies instantly shape the universe around us, what reality are you tuning your remote control to right now? We really hope this explainer has given you a clear, objective window into the vast and fascinating cosmology of Lifechanyuan and Xuefeng's teachings. Thanks for exploring with us.